Hello and welcome back to Junk Cutter Garage. We're gonna do another episode on the Cushman Roadking. So here we go. So, if you remember from the first time around, I picked up this Cushman Roadking right here, and it was a basket case, in the truest sense of it. It came in, I guess it's a Rubbermaid case, Rubbermaid tub case, because it came in about 4 or 5 Rubbermaid tubs. The chassis was in different parts. Basically, the only thing I had was a bunch of parts to who knows what that I got from a guy who died, and then the wrong motor, extremely wrong motor. It was a Honda CB200 motor bolted to a Cushman chassis, but done pretty well. Guy made some nice motor mounts, and I got the rear wheel on. Everything actually lined up. I was thinking about tearing it out and putting it back to original, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and move forward with it because it looks like it was some halfway decent fabrication. So I'm gonna give Guy his due and finish his project for him, whoever he was. I'm going to move on now to some of the more mechanical bits. I'm going to start running throttle cables and clutch cables, and I'm going to get the some of the electrical stuff wired, because what I want to do is try and pop this engine over and just make sure it runs. I assume it does. I can't imagine the guy went through all this trouble without at least making sure the engine ran, but you never know. I don't even know how long it was sitting there. It looked like a long time, so let's get into it. So here's where we're at. This is the reminder of what this Cushman looks like. We're still filling in the gaps on some missing pieces, but like I said, after the last episode, I was able to figure out what we were missing. So one of the things that I was able to pick up was the slides for these. Found those on Evil Bay and got them ordered up, got them in the pile of parts over there that we're going to try. We got to get the clutch cable ran to one of these pedals, the brake ran up here, and some throttle ran up here. And this is, originally it had a slide inside that went into that, which is kind of funky. Costs a lot to replace. It's about 20 different fiddly pieces, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and put on a regular tube over the top of this with the right outside diameter. Shouldn't be too hard, and then just put a regular throttle grip on there. One of the other things is I got this gas tank mount loosely fit in, and I had to do some modifying to the underside of the cover there so that it would drop down. Originally it would have a toolbox right here too that I'm going to try and either source or fabricate, probably fabricate because it's cheaper. But it's nice that that comes off, because now we can get in here and start laying down some of the cabling, and I might have to take this whole back end back off just to really be able to get in here. One of the other major things is to run the exhaust, which I still haven't decided if I want to spend the $100 and get some new, what are you doing? Get out of here. To spend the $100 and get the proper original exhaust headers that come out, which I'll have to do some cutting to make fit. Or I actually found in the pile of stuff, there's a really tight 90-degree bend he fabricated up to try and clear the original metal work. So there's the tank. It's got the mount that it sits on there. I still got to figure out the straps, but you know, right now that's good enough. I'll probably have to run a fuel pump because I don't think that'll be, well, maybe. It's kind of right on the edge of where you'd want it for a gravity feed setup, so we'll see. But this is that exhaust. So if you see from the side there, obviously it doesn't clear that, or it does clear that. It stays back. That's great, but you can see that that is a very tight bend, and on top of just not flowing well, it'll probably make this get super hot just because it's such a bottleneck. So the original, or the ones that I want to get, are the normal ones that would normally just swoop out here, and I can just bring them down and around because who cares? It's a rat rod, let's be honest. Okay, we just got these throttle cables and slides put in. I'm doing a test fit here. Looks like if we put it down about level to boop, good enough. I was worried that the throttle cables would have too tight of a bend in them. It's definitely not long enough, unless I want to have a cable run like this, which, you know, that's not a real thing because it's way too short. So I'll have to figure out, probably just cut this, put a trunnion on it, make some kind of joiner, mount this somewhere, and then do some things, and then run a cable up through the back of that, and then just pop it out there, and then go to a regular throttle grip. Now we'll move on. I'm gonna take the whole body off because to get to the clutch cover, it's down there on the side. You can kind of make it out right here. That I'm gonna have to take everything off to get to it. 12. Wasn't expecting that. Thought it was a 14 for sure. Got to recalibrate my eyeballs. It is annoying to have to take this all back apart, but it'll make it a lot easier to get the chain back on that I got to do anyways. So, you know, it's a part of the whole process. It's a process. It's a process. And compared to a car, it's really not that hard to work on. So I'm trying to figure out how this rear brake setup works here because this is the most modified section of the frame. So it looks like that little slot is where the brake was originally supposed to bolt, which you can see that hole right there is much further back. So it makes sense because there's a big weld right in here. So to get the clearance for the motor, he must have had to scoot that back. The neat thing was, as I was trying to figure out how the heck this thing bolts together, since, you know, again, this is where picking up from someone else's project gets tricky, but it was kind of neat. When I was trying to figure out the centering spot for this hole, I don't know if you can tell, but if you look real close, you can see a mark here that he had marked where that hole was supposed to be, which looks like it's spot on. But didn't ever get to it, unfortunately. So again, following the footsteps. Next steps, here we go. It's important that you know, you give it the care and love it deserves as a vintage piece of a history. There it is. Battery dead? What the heck? Come on! There we go. Is it backwards? No. Okay, we got that hole bored and slotted out. So now we're going to try and tap this, which I have no idea what size it was. So I grabbed whichever seemed like it was slightly bigger than the hole. And now we're going to jam it in. This is the crappiest tap and die set ever. Let's try it the other way. Oh. Come on now. Seems to be grabbing, but oh, come on. What the heck? Why won't that go forward more? Haha, that's why. Because the adjusters aren't adjusted. Oh, whatever. Come on now. Just need something to grab so I can get this through and then get a bolt and then it should be good. Huh, surprisingly easy. Which probably means it didn't actually put that many threads in it, but we'll see if it's good enough because really I just need to jam something through here. Might have room to put a nut on the back side, but I think originally this was threaded. It's so old and thrashed, it's hard to even tell if there were threads in there, so should be good enough. Now we just need to find a bolt that fits. Perfect. Yep. Probably need a spacer on there. Now that this is threaded into here, I should be able to keep this from rotating when I pull on the brake cable here. I don't know why that grinds on that. It's not backwards. You need to pull it towards you there. Okay, anyways, I still have to run the chain, which I'll do here in a second. It runs up into here. I've already checked. It's pretty much shimmed the right way out. So the next big project is going to be getting that brake cable rigged in there. Okay, so we skipped over a few steps here, but this is the pivot for the bottom of the pedal. Hit this with a little bit of to stop the rust here, but we welded on an extra nub here so that that arm was a little longer so we could get more pull on it, which then we fabricated this setup here, drilled some holes in that so that the cable would mate with that. Then we put a spring on there, and we went over to here. And then that goes to, we welded this bracket here to pull on this bunch of janky crap here that hooks onto the bolt that connects to that. And so when we give it the pedal, we got some pull. Is it pretty? No, not at all. Is it functional? Seems like it will be. I'm working with just what I had. I bought very little to do that. I kind of just cobbled it together. I just want it to work. I don't want to put a bunch of money into this quite yet. So if this proves to be insufficient, I will go back and give it some better functionality, weld some better connections on. But for now, I think for the test run, it's going to be just fine. So the only thing we have left here now is to get the we got the clutch setup done, we got the brake setup done. Now we're going to need to do the throttle, which will take a little fabricating at the end of that pedal, or at the end of the hand there, hand grip, and then connect up the tank, and then all the electricals, and then we can see if it runs. But I thought I'd do the least fun stuff first, which is getting all the linkages for all the connections done so that when it does want to run, all I got to do is put the body back on. So the other big fabrication project on here is going to be the shifting mechanism, because this came from a motorcycle, so you got to actually be able to shift through the gears. And it's going to be really sketchy on this, because you're going to have one hand holding the throttle, one hand shifting, 1 foot braking, 1 foot clutching. That doesn't leave a lot left for steering. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. We'll see.